So, morning, everybody. Any burning questions right off the bat?
Astarter?
Astarter. I knew you'd be there, Paul. Unfortunately, no news of the token generation event yet. Still, I don't know what the best word to use is. Probably yet, because I suspect, and I haven't been told overtly, but I suspect it's to do with the current regulation climate around stablecoins is delaying the launch of USDA, Emergo's coin, and as a result, could well be impacting the generation event for Astarter token. I don't know. Speculation. It might not be true, actually, but that's what I'm thinking. However, I've been in touch with the Astarter crew, and they've got a private beta for their decentralized exchange happening next month, I think he said. So I'm going to see if I can get myself onto that beta. But there's no guarantees of that either. But that would be very cool to see a bit more of their tech actually being built and in progress. I've seen their launch. Was it their deck previously? No, I think it was a launch pad I saw earlier in beta. But not seen their decks as of yet, so that'll be good to see. And that will be private beta next month, early next month, so I guess in 3 weeks, something like that. And then there's a public beta, which should be April to June. So I imagine if they're doing a private April, then there may be public one end of May, start of June. And at that point, then I think there'll be a lot of pressure to get the token generation event going. So that'll be good to see. But yeah, certainly things are slow over at the development houses of the large projects. It's been a bit of a trickle recently.
Yeah, because I'm assuming, obviously, our token does have value, even if it's just still in the ADA format. And obviously, with us, and obviously everyone else that's invested in it, however many hundreds or thousands or whatever, there should be some return per se on it.
Well, there's nothing to trade because the token generation event hasn't happened yet. So what we have is a token promise, and that's what the SAFT agreement is. It's agreement to deliver a certain amount of tokens in return for the investment we've put in. So until that token generation event happens, there's nothing that can be sold to somebody else. I suppose you could sell your promise, but we're part of a group purchase, so yeah, we'd have probably all have to agree to sell our promise, and then someone else would have the or would take. Well, actually, we'd probably still have to take delivery because that's the address it's been assigned to, and then we'd have to release it to them. But until that generation event happens, until the Astarter AA token is distributed, there's not really anything we can do. So yeah, we're kind of just waiting for a return on that till they start launching and do that token generation event. But I don't know about you. Just had another message through from John at Astarter. So launchpad by June and merge staking. So yeah, they've already got their AA1 pool live and staking. Our merge staking obviously is reliant on the I'm assuming is reliant on the token generation event, but that will happen. Launchpad, public sale, TG, and exchange listing will happen all at the same time. So June, by the sounds of it.
He's listening to your podcast.
Maybe he is, yeah. But I'm not streaming, so he's doing well. Yeah, so that's good. That'll be good. That'll be good to see. And yeah, I mean, June sounds a long way away in my head, but actually it's only a couple of months, so we are racing through the year. It feels. Any other questions around that, or anything else we've got going on? I know you mentioned numismy at the end of that Lucas call, and certainly something he will talk about on Monday, I'm sure. But yeah, that's a bit of a shame as well. Numismy's token on the Ethereum network, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we've obviously got, or some of us have got investments in that as well.
And they've just said they're ceasing their Web3 activity, from what I briefly got. That's right. So they're a company behind. There's a company behind it, which is larger than just the token, and obviously it wasn't just their Web3 activity. But to pause now, I guess, means that they've made some been burnt by the crash very badly, and if they can't afford to run their token, which is essentially free once it's up and running, means that there may be some management issues, I guess, within the business. I'm sure more will come out in time, but for now they've paused their Web3 activity, and we'll find out if Luca's got any insights on Monday, I guess.
It's the same. It's the same group that runs a 5% club. Same investor.
Miss Sam. Yeah. But on that note, hopefully he should have been able to get out of his Ethereum trade this last week, because the price did really well on Ethereum, didn't it? It got above 2.5.
1786, I think I saw it at. So it's well above the 1750, which he needed to get out of the trade. And I'm assuming he would have had a auto trading cancellations. I don't know the technical term for it, but yeah, he would have had some stops in there. I would have thought at that price.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So his level was 1735, and we hit 1783. So that should have triggered any sale if there was something set up, which I imagine he would have done, which is good. Yeah, I don't know how all your various investments have been going, but I think most of mine have stalled or stymied or not yielding anything at the moment, other than on Cardano, which just keeps ticking along.
Yeah, that's about the only saving grace at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. So any workshopy type questions? Anything anyone's trying to do they want to cover? Utan, I wanted to get the video up for you from last week so you could have a look through the what was it I covered last week? It was the COTI Treasury. That's right. Yeah, I wanted to get that up for you, but I'll do that this week as soon as I can. It needed a bit of editing, so it didn't go up there. Hasn't been up yet, but I'll get the timestamps done as well at the same time. So maybe that's an interesting question. Did anybody have a look at the COTI Treasury since last week?
No, not me.
No, it's been a bit hairy for me. So with the Treasury, you can purchase your COTI tokens, and then you can choose to effectively stake them in the Treasury in return for earning more token. But they offer this leverage facility, so you can actually effectively 2x, 4x, 8x your deposit, in return for higher interest or rate of return. Of course, when you do that, you risk your capital. So I put tokens in, and then as the price was going up, and because we had that pump on the token around the time of the JED stablecoin launch on Cardano, which the COTI team are responsible for delivering, there was a good drive in price on the COTI token. But then since we had the few crashes elsewhere in the markets, that sent the price plummeting again, and so it went below the price I'd bought in at, which meant that I was at risk of liquidation. So then I had to buy more tokens and stake those in the treasury to lower my risk, and I did to do that I think 3 times. And it was interesting because I was using the techniques that Luca's been teaching us Luca is a coach at the International Academy of Wealth, that several of us are part of. If anybody's listening, get in touch if you want to hear a bit more about it. Find me on Discord and I can patch you through. And in Luca's course, his techniques for finding supply zones and demand zones meant that I could track back for where the demand zones were and make sure that my liquidation price was below the next demand zone. So when the prices did come down, I would always I'd have a bit more money sitting outside the treasury, but on the platform, ready to put in if I needed to water down my risk a bit more. And so I did that, I think 3 times in the end. But exactly true to our teaching, the price would stall at the demand zones as orders were filled, and so that gave me opportunity then to lower my risk again by putting more in. And fortunately, we didn't go down below the lowest point on the tokens ever hit. So, and we've now with the Bitcoin pump this last week. So I'm hoping now I'm out of hot water. But it was it was a bit sketchy, but very interesting and really reassuring to know that the teaching we've been having actually is practical and useful in more than just being a trader, which I probably will never achieve. In fact, it might be useful just to show you my screens. That I want to share. If I go to COTI. So this was the COTI chart. Are you seeing my screen share okay? Yeah, cool. So this was a COTI chart from back in November. The token launched a while back, and they have activity on their own blockchain, trust chain. COTI run a fully KYC'd and regulatory compliant platform blockchain. So anybody that's on that has their token and is bought through their platform has gone through KYC. So they're very clear about that from the outset. And so the token's been around for a while. It's seen the highs, obviously, back in last summer, and they come right the way down. And then they had the FTX crash. And then the prices started to sort of recover with that was the last climb. So the price started to recover along with the general market. And then they had the launch of the JED Shen ecosystem on Cardano, and their token just rocketed. So went from, well, let's see what sort of gain that is. So it had about an 80% jump in price, and I bought in at this blue line. I thought, I'm a bit late to it, but let's get in anyway, because I'm holding Shed and Gen, and because some of the Jed Shen profits and fees then go into the COTI and to fund the COTI Treasury, I was expecting there to be a good healthy rise in the Treasury, and so I bought in blue line, and then the price carried on. I thought, great, I've cleared it. I'm going to be safe from here on out. And then several crises have happened since then, which have meant the price came back down, broke through my liquidation risk level, and so I sold, came in again. My liquidation risk level was here, this next red line, by finding the demand zones here, and then price dropped below that and rose back up again. I thought, okay, I'm going to be safe, and then it started declining along with. So I think this was the banking, and that's a month ago. Yeah, so there was just a general slow decline of the token, and then this last drop was the banking. So on the 9th, no, not even that was a banking. I think this must have been it on the 11th, which dropped suddenly, and my last level. And then this was the lowest price ever. So it did drop a long way down. So I got my level set here, my last resort. And I could sell, I could buy my way out of the treasury effectively by paying a fee, get my capital back, but lose any profits I'd earned during this time of yield. So I wanted to stay in because I do want to hold this token long term. And fortunately, it didn't get down quite that far. The demand zone was fairly busy, so we bounced off that, and then we've had a bit of a rise now since with Bitcoin pump and surviving the banking collapse and the Fed coming in to rescue the banks, bail out the banks, just call it what it is, and in the US. And so that was interesting, very interesting to go through that. And see the techniques working. So anybody that does want that sort of training, then yeah, do get involved with IAW and on to sign up for Luca as your coach. It's very good, top notch. Would everyone agree?
Oh,
I think everybody
100%.
here.
Yeah, well worth the time and effort.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Have you found any use cases outside of just plain trade, or even in trading? I'd be curious to hear how you've got on with it.
Just putting into some of his advice, I was up 8% this week, just paper trading. So yeah,
Nice. That's how it's starting to work for you.
yeah, definitely. Then I did the 1 minute BTC mail train for about 3 minutes. So that was an horrendous ride. So I got out with about $1. I think I made. That was crazy.
So that was real money.
No,
No, that was paper as well. Yeah.
Yeah, paper trading.
I
need to get a broker, get into it properly.
Are you thinking you might try it out then?
Yeah, just with $100. So
Yeah.
I'll keep my trades under 2%, like Luca advisors.
Mm-hmm. Good, cool.
Just on a different subject, with regards to Charles Hoskinson mentioning about obviously midnight, and what was that? And there was a new wallet coming out. Was it Dust as well? The tokens, is that still all up in the air?
Midnight and Dust, yeah, are still building. So he's very quiet about that. Not hearing much at the moment. So yeah, the bigger news was the wallet, which is getting close to launch now, and that's the Lace wallet. which is a very nice looking wallet. I think I have it. Got the beta. So I'll bring it onto the screen share again. Give me 1 second. I'll just try and log in. So Lace is a wallet built out by IOG. I can't remember my password for it. And for some reason it's not showing up in my Bitwarden. Maybe I can't show you the Lace wallet. That's a shame. Yeah, I can't remember. I'll figure that out and come back to you. But yeah, the Lace wallet is built out by IOG, and it's their. So they have Daedalus, obviously, which is a large full node wallet, which is a bit of a beast. And that was been their wallet that they've been responsible for, in the ecosystem. Emergo built out Yoroi, which was the light wallet, so much more user-friendly, lightweight, but not as powerful, obviously, and now is kind of falling behind the times in terms of functions and features compared to community wallets. Lace wallet is sort of the new Yoroi, so built by one of the founding entities, and will have a lot more support, and is being much more forward-looking in terms of its feature set. So they're working on a proper dApp store within that wallet. So you'll have a whole load of applications listed that you can jump off to quickly. But the big thing that they're going to be working on is certified applications. So if you've had an audit done on your application, then you'll get a better rating and listing position probably within the wallet, within the Lace wallet. And so having a rubber stamp from IOG will certainly boost your the exposure of your wallet, of your application within the wallet. And the wallet itself is also going to be able to do some of the clunkier things that people have been complaining about in the Cardano ecosystem, which is the Catalyst voting. So you'll actually be able to see a synopsis of projects, I believe, and make your voting decisions from there. So there's something called the Voting Center, I believe, coming out as part of that Lace wallet delivery. So that'll be exciting to see, and it will probably replace the sort of first time wallet for most Cardano people joining the ecosystem, because it's obviously supported by a founding member, and we'll have a lot of development and stuff plowed into it, and additional features to some of the things. As Cardano moves into Voltaire era, and starts really looking at how to move power and decision-making power over the blockchain itself from the hands of IOG, Emergo, and Cardano Foundation into more of the community's hands. I'm sure the Lace wallet will play a part in that. Probably be the voting user interface for larger broad Cardano voting procedures, rather than just Catalyst. So yeah, I'm sure that wallet will do very well, and it looks really nice. So we'll see. I no doubt will carry on using Eternal, because Eternal is awesome and has all the power tools. It's like difference between someone buying a Black & Decker drill or a Makita or something. just go for the one with the higher numbers, and you see your builder using, rather than the one that is on the adverts for B&Q.
Good choice. Good choice.
So yes, that was the latest one. Any other questions? I was interested to see Machiavellic, which I know you like, Paul, has taken on a new community manager. He's actually a friend of mine who heads up the carpool education system. So he's a state pool operator, onboards people into Cardano, and he's now taken the position as community manager for Machiavellic, which is the play to earn or play and earn game being built out on Cardano, online role playing game. So yeah, very cool. Fletcher, I always forget his name. Doesn't roll easily off my brain because it's a surname in my mind. But yeah, Fletcher is going to be joining Machiavellic, so that's cool.
One thing I did notice, and I did bring it up with Astarter in a private message. I think I may have mentioned it to you as well. That obviously I've got the OG and the chamber and whatever else, and on my NAMI account, when I went into Tootsie Drops, I had exactly the same value with the wallet that had everything in it compared to another one which I had staked with another ISO which had nothing in it. So it didn't seem to make any difference whether I had all the various rewards or whatever. I still seem to be able to get exactly the same from a normal standard ISO related wallet.
Same as one that had your OG NFT in it, and we're expecting an OG boost for staking.
Yep.
Okay. I hadn't even looked at that. So that's a good heads up because I'm a holder of the OG as well. Do you know? Have you got a reference to the original documentation around that? The parameters. Maybe we can have a quick look, see if we can find them here. So I guess it would be on the
on their main website.
Yeah. This doesn't actually refer to the OG NFTs anymore. I'm sure that was off the top menu before, wasn't it?
I don't know. You can get their you can buy their chambers on is it the JPEG store as well? I've seen a couple posted there as well. If you're interested in getting obviously one of their chambers.
So that's the secondary marketplace.
Yes. Yeah.
So if they're listing on the secondary marketplace, maybe they sold all their OG passes. Do you think? It's not referenced here. It must be somewhere, I'm sure. But I can't see it. Okay. OG NFT sales public. No, they're not all sold out, so it should still be here. So we should be getting plus 25% on the diamond, plus 20 on the platinum, plus 50 on the gold, plus 5 on the bronze. Amount gained from staking an NFT character pass with a partnered SPO pool and is not a boost on all MAC earnings. based on the amount gained from staking an NFT character path with a partner staking SPO pool. So you need the OG NFT and the character pass in the wallet that stakes to Fluid Pool. And it'll be a boost over and above one that's not got the NFTs of 5% is what I think I'm interpreting that as.
Yeah, but it doesn't seem to at the moment with Tootsie Drop. It
Yeah.
doesn't make any difference whatsoever. I've got exactly the same rewards, if not more, with a wallet that I don't have with any of the
NFTs in.
NFTs in. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I said.
Has he responded yet?
No, he said he was going to put it on to another gentleman within the group.
Okay.
But I'll keep you informed once I get that response.
Yeah, that'd be useful. Good to know. There's additional complexity with querying the wallet contents before, for NFTs rather than just for the balance. So the process of getting the Gimbal tokens onboarded with smart claims was kind of protracted and had a few toing and froing with developers to get the exact queries right. So definitely worth, in these early days, definitely worth chasing down these sorts of issues and looking out for them as well. So well done. They do exist and they are quite hard to spot. Even if you're the developer, you kind of rely on feedback from actual users of any system that you build, because there's just so much to test from the developer point of view that actually sometimes you just don't catch it all until it's gone live and you've got all these different scenarios being played out. So we might just have fallen victim to a bug, or it could be an incompatibility between the parameters that Machiavellic asked for and what Tootsie Drop have delivered, or it could be to do with because I know that the Machiavellic NFT had to change its or the character passes had to change their the way that they were named as they were being minted, because the mint had to have a pause because people were able to see what the character passes were called before they actually purchased. So if you have your character pass from before, maybe they are compliant with Tootsie Drop's algorithms, and the ones that minted after might not be. It could be something like that as well. So worth chasing down. I actually have character passes from before and after, so I can test that out now. Just thought about it, so I'll be going in and trying that myself.
Nice. And I think they are building out their own staking rewards system as well. That was mentioned too. I'm assuming their own work around all these things so they can
control it themselves.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Or maybe they'll do an airdrop then instead of for any missing rewards. Although, the maths around that can be a nightmare as well. Catching up on what you missed out. So we'll see. Hey, Tootsie Drop, do you have to collect them each epoch, or do they aggregate? I don't even know that.
This is no. So I was actually going to go and check after this, because then it should obviously show the rewards have doubled. And if it doesn't, then something definitely wrong.
Okay, cool. Well, yeah, keep me informed. It'll be good to know.
No worries.
We can debug together. Cool. Anything?
Sorry, Jonathan.
Hey, you're done.
I don't know if we missed any. Yeah, I don't know if we missed anything earlier. I think you guys were talking about Machiavellic, right? So I've got the Mac and also OG Silver. So at this stage, do we need to do anything at all, or is there any step that we should follow?
Just that the ISPO has started now, so you can go and claim your MAC tokens, additional MAC tokens, because you're staked to Fluid Pool. As long as you're staked to Fluid Pool with the same wallet that you've got your NFT in, your MAC or your MAC tokens in, then you'll be eligible for additional MAC token rewards over and above the base level. But if you're staked with Fluid Pool, then you'll see tokens for collection regardless. So yeah, Paul and I were just trying to figure out how much more we should be seeing because we bought in early and got an NFT, an OG NFT as part of the Machiavellic investment. But yeah, so if you go to Tosi Drop, Otan, you should be able
I guess
to.
with this, yeah.
And you need at least 100 ADA, and for every 100 ADA in that wallet, you should get at least one MAC.
Ah, okay. They've tied it to the ADA balance.
Yes, I have.
So that wallet we have to have like 100 ADA wallet, you mean?
Yeah. So you have to have 100 ADA, and then your NFT or your NFTs all in the same wallet staked to Fluid Pool. And
Okay, then I need
every
to
100
transfer
ADA,
100 ADA. Okay. Yeah, in account, I think we don't have 100 ADA. I think it's just those MAC and OG Silver NFTs. So maybe I need to put some ADA on that and then.
Go and check your claims. Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting because it's I suppose it's trying to increase the amount of ADA staked to ISPO pools, which is good for me. But it does add complexity in terms of, I hold my largest holdings outside of Hot Wallet. So, if I could be earning extra MAC, it's very difficult for me to manage that from my cold storage wallet. And I don't put my NFTs into that cold storage wallet because they have utility. So yeah, I suppose really what we want is a wallet aggregator. So all wallets owned by me that are staked with Fluid Pool in this case should be eligible. Their ADA balance should be eligible for the MAC rewards, but or certainly for the MAC rewards, and maybe and hopefully for the boosted as well. That would be ideal.
But you are that's the thing about it. Like I say, the other wallet that I have, or my Eternal wallet, which is obviously staked to Fluid Pool and has got no NFTs or whatever in it, I checked that out against COTI Drop, and I could get 7 MAC from that wallet.
And you think that tied with your full?
No, that's got no time. All it is staking with Fluid Pool. So I went in and there was MAC available in Tootsie Drop, and I had nothing other than being staked to Fluid Pool.
Yeah.
Had no Machiavellic NFTs, no nothing.
But could you do the maths and figure out if the balance in that wallet should have been eligible for like one MAC per 100 ADA?
No, it should have been if they were giving out 1 MAC per ADA, I should have got something like 50, 55 or 56 MAC.
Okay, so it was under. Yeah. Okay. Well, hopefully some bugs there we can nail down and get to the bottom of. Maybe I guess you're discussing that in, is it a ticket or something on Discord or just open channel?
I'm speaking to Arthur directly on it, so I will create a ticket and ask the question that way.
Okay, cool. Yeah, thank you for doing that, because that would be of interest to any Fluid Pool stakers and anybody in the ISPO really. Good to get the numbers right. Anybody had any other issues claiming either Indie, NTX, Gimbal tokens, which were part of their ISPOs as well, or have every got their so Gimbal should be ongoing, but the Indie and the NTX I think were one-offs.
Yeah, no, mine worked perfectly with the gimbal tokens and the indie. Happy as.
Cool. Yeah, the Indie price has been interesting to watch. Still climbing. Actually, yeah, it's pretty flat now, Indie. But still doing quite well for a new platform. So certainly not dropped below launch price at all, which is great. And when I see that, it kind of makes me think, yes, it's probably going to be a good long-term hold. Certainly worth watching tracking its price through the boom that will come.
And the freebie always helps as well.
Yeah, buying in at zero, it's always great.
I had one other question. You know the is it Optim Finance where we did the bought the tokens or whatever? When does that start doing returns? Is it 12 months?
The Astarter would be doing the returns. The Optim, we get an airdrop, having bought into their stake pool bond, so that will come to me, right. and then I'm I'm planning to distribute some of the Optim tokens to early delegators to the pool, so that won't be any fixed amount, and yeah, it probably won't. I might do it through a distribution platform. I'm undecided as of yet, and because I can take any native token and get it listed on smart claims now, so I might do that. Yeah, the airdrop for that. So when I actually get delivered the opt-in token, won't be for a good while yet. I think it was at the end of your bond, so that will be a year down the road. So yeah, I haven't put much time and thought into that yet. But yeah, the Astarter tokens, which will be coming out monthly after the token generation event. So that's the one that will be coming in more regularly, and that will be distributed to the Opportunity DAO multi-sig wallet, and then we can distribute those ourselves out to participants in Opportunity DAO.
Awesome.
Yeah. So while I'm sitting here looking at tokens, these are the tokens that I watch, I keep an eye on, I'm interested in. I can maybe just run down that list. So obviously we've got Shen sitting at the top of this by market cap. So there's now $350 billion worth of Shen out there, which is kind of insane from a standing start this year. Their price action is kind of holding its own, a bit up and down. But remember, this is the volatile token. That's the reserve token for JED, the stablecoin, the algorithmic stablecoin, over collateralized algorithmic stablecoin. Don't know what to call it. Too many little names. So So the Shen token should be the volatile half of it, and that looks kind of steady to me. Price action up and down are in the percentages, so it seems to be holding quite well. And obviously the JED token itself is staying, it's kept its peg, and that's very encouraging to see, despite the volatility in the wider macro markets we've seen in the last few weeks. So yeah, that's worked good. So JED should be pegged to $1. It has risen above and below it. It's not holding its peg as accurately as say USDC or USDT or BUSD, because those are massive market capped stable coins. Now, obviously, the larger your market cap, the more stable you are. The larger price movements are needed to try and shift you off your peg. So with a small cap market cap stable coin, it's slightly more volatile. The crucial thing is that it comes back to the level, fairly rapidly and never deviates, very far from it. So if it starts to deviate 2%, then you start to get concerned. But we've kept pretty stable in there, so that's worth keeping an eye on. Market cap of 7 million ADA.
Hey, Jonathan, what's the name of that website you're on now?
This one is Taptools. So it's
TAP?
Yeah, I'll drop it into the chat.
Okay. Thank you.
So it sort of aggregates all the data from native tokens on Cardano. So if you're excuse me, if you're interested in native tokens, this is the starting place now. It's really good website, very comprehensive. Prices seem to be very accurate. They're aggregated from several different decentralized exchanges, and they're adding features all the time. They have a pro version, but at the moment everything is available to everybody. So if you register an account, you can qualify for pro because they're still in build stage. And at some point they'll add a fee to the pro account, I imagine, but that hasn't happened yet. So yeah, Shen doing very well in terms of volume. World Mobile Token is my strongest performing native token on Cardano. I think I'm up 1,000% on where I bought in at, or something like that, or 10x from where I bought in at, which is incredible. I didn't put much in, which I regret now, but that's always the case. Still a very strong token to look to get in on at the right price, because they're what I would consider real fi. They're actually building real world infrastructure, and the token movement should be based off the fact that they are a real world asset as opposed to purely market driven digital asset. So as they mature, as the distribution, as the network grows, when they've got their nodes up and around the world, then their price action on their token will match, I'm sure. They have their pilot program in Zanzibar with their blimp that they're hanging mobile communication equipment from. They have their air nodes, ether nodes that sit on the ground, and they can be located in really remote rural locations, valleys and hills, plains all around the world. So Zanzibar was their first pilot, and they had just fishing village granted internet access for the first time, because their air nodes are battery powered, connected to the grid, solar powered, and they run effectively a Wi-Fi connection point off them, and these talk to long distance mobile masts that can be hung from these blimps. These I'm mixing up ether nodes and air nodes. Air nodes are the blimps, I believe. So you can hang your mast from there and then relay the calls and internet connections onto LAN nodes elsewhere. And so it's creating infrastructure in places that were just very, very expensive to implement before. So really helping in connecting people who are connected. There is also a massive opportunity that they've taken in the US, because there's a lot of unconnected places across that continent. So they're actually moving or growing their operations in developing nations as well, if there's a need there. So that will no doubt reflect well in their price performance too, long term. So 10% in 30 days in the last month is really good growth for a decent sized token. Min token is related to the Min swap, which is the most popular decentralized exchange on Cardano, community built exchange. Their token is part of their liquidity pool rewards, so I do have some of that as well, and they're up 80% in the last month, so had a really big jump. I'm not entirely sure what it's tied to, but they're a good, strong team. They're always building, always innovating, doing good work. They've seen influx of liquidity pools for the stable coins as they've come on, indie tokens, so on and so forth. So yeah, really you can swap all your tokens on MinSwap now, and because Cardano's UTXO driven and everything's smart contract based, any exchange, any development team can participate in orders that are placed on other dexes. So MuesliSwap, for example, is a dex aggregator. It can fulfill orders from MinSwap, from SundaeSwap, Wing Riders, all through the MuesliSwap user interface, and vice versa. So the ecosystem really is able to pick up from each other, which is a really strong point of resiliency. One of the really underrated things about Cardano is that it's highly resilient and robust, and the architecture and the UTXO extended UTXO that they use in the protocol is allows you to do some really innovative things, and so MinSwap, MuesliSwap are taking full advantage of that. And the Min token is doing a lot better than the Milk token at the moment, so interesting to see. LQ token, they had their long-awaited launch last month. Liqwid Finance, which is a lending borrowing platform on Cardano. You can go and check them out. They're worth a look if you haven't seen them yet. They are developing all the time. Their launch was kind of underwhelming after a huge build-up, but they are a fully community-based team again, working hard to grow and adapt and improve. So you can go and check these out if you're interested in becoming the bank, lending out to people, or being a punter and borrowing from them. Be a very interesting platform to have a look at. And again, fully taking part in the UTXO advantages that are available to us. So there's varying degrees of confidence in the team, but certainly their releases, their software releases improvements have been rapid since launch. So great to see. And their LQ token was the largest airdrop on Cardano, so everybody in the community is very grateful to them for that as well. So really worth checking out. AGIX token obviously has seen a big rise lately because of the rise in interest in artificial intelligence. This is SingularityNet's token. They have now got a bridge, so if you have your tokens on the Ethereum blockchain, you can port them over to the Cardano blockchain and use them as a native token on Cardano, and vice versa. So I haven't used the bridge myself, I haven't even looked at it, but I saw the press release, and that's something you could be interested in if you're holding AGX tokens on Ethereum, because obviously you can trade and things like that much more cheaply on Cardano, because of the gas fees on Ethereum still being relatively high in comparison. MEL's token, which again is another decentralized exchange, money market for Cardano. They have aspirations to be multi-chain to a larger degree than several of the other Cardano-based projects, and worth looking at as well. And so I participated, several of us participated in their ISPO a couple of years ago. They were the first to do an ISPO to use that model, so innovators in that regard, and earned a lot of money for it. So they have a very good pool of funds to be building stuff out, and their tech is slowly starting to appear. I was on their beta site this week, in fact. So they've got a wallet and swap facility being built out, and that will no doubt launch fairly soon, and could well impact their token price as well, because today they've delivered no functionality other than just ISPOs. I also know that the smart claims team, or freeloaders, are responsible for delivering on the NFT launch of their bank manager tokens. So if you hold a bank manager token NFT, you can take advantage of better yield rates on their interest giving features and other benefits as well. So effectively, you can their goal is to become a replacement for a bank, but on the blockchain. So you can do foreign exchange, which would be to other tokens, other chains, and you can borrow and lend and have an overdraft and all these sorts of functionalities you expect from the normal banking industry, but built out on DeFi. So very interesting. I'll go through top 10, shall I? And then stop, because I'm getting a bit bored of my own voice. Any questions at any point on any of these, just do pitch in.
So can you actually buy them on here, Jonathan?
Cheers, Archie. See you later. You can. I don't think you can swap directly on here. They were talking about it, and I know that they did have a token distribution feature originally. That was going to be their sort of one of their strong points, but they've decided to drop that along with the regulation over token distributions in the States, I think. So that's not going to be a feature of theirs anymore. But swaps, I can imagine coming in as part of their pro features, maybe. I don't think you can do it at the moment, but they link off to all the dexes, so you can then go and buy them on MuesliSwap, MintSwap, Wingriders, etc. At the prices stated here.
Because I've seen obviously another, or just in the background, Teddy Swap that really seems to be picking up some pace in itself. I haven't looked at. I've just seen some of the correspondence as it flicks through Twitter, but yeah, it seems to be growing from strength to strength.
Yeah, they've done a really good job. They came out of nowhere, really. I hadn't really heard of them, and then they just shouted about them doing an ISPO, and so everybody tried to get in on that action, including myself. We made the shortlist, but didn't make the final cut. And so their pools now are hoovered in a whole load of new delegation, which is great to see. Particularly as TeleSwap were very conscious of small stake pool operators, so I'm really appreciative for that, because that helps decentralization, proper distribution of staking abilities around the globe, and that's what we need if we're actually going to be robust and resilient. So yeah, their price action has been very strong since launch, which is great to see. I don't actually follow them on here, but perhaps add that to my watch list. That's a good shout, and maybe see if there's a good price point to get in at on their token alone. I was interested in their ISPO, but we didn't get onto that. So the alternative, because there's always different ways to take part in the success of a particular project. There's multiple ways. It's not just the obvious approaches. So whether that's owning a token, owning a related token in the ecosystem, staking with them, getting hold of airdrops and delegation rewards, just participating on their Discord server can sometimes result in airdrops. So yeah, all these things are ways and means of taking advantage of the growth in some of these innovative projects. So yeah, TeddySwap's well worth a look. There's the Indie token, which is related to the Indigo protocol, which is a synthetic asset platform on Cardano. So you can provide the collateral for any of the synthetic assets that they provide on there. So, for example, if you want to start using USD pegged token on Cardano, but don't want to mint JED or something like that, IUSD is their synthetic asset, and you can put your own collateral up. So, say 4 times the amount in ADA as collateral for 1 and a 4-to-1 ratio, ADA to IUSD, and then you'll have a USD stablecoin effectively in your wallet that you can use to swap and trade elsewhere. So very, and you can do that with anything that they offer. So I think there's Bitcoin on there now, and they're always growing their offerings in what they offer as a synthetic asset. Very interesting, very innovative, and they obviously did an airdrop, which was very nice to get some free indie tokens from. So if you're a Floopal delegator, you're eligible for that. So go and check out. Indie tokens were available from, I can't remember. Let me jump back into the Discord and see. I did this.
Toasty drop.
Toasty drop, was it? Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we get NTX tokens from Drip Drops, Indie tokens from Toasty Drop, Gimbal tokens from Smart Claims. So I liked it. It wasn't intentional, but we've ended up with a very wide distribution of all the platforms providing tokens that we can benefit from. So that's the Indie token. Gens, the Genius Yield token, again has done well since, well, it launched undervalued, dropped heavily. So people who participated in private token sales, including myself, didn't do too well out of their launch, but the price has risen since, and I bought more. So I'm still quite confident in their long-term success. I don't know if their community interaction has been the best, but I believe in their technology. They've got a really strong development team, including Lars Brynjes, who's the chief educator for IOG, and I've been through some of his courses. Really clever guy, really understands UTXO model and all the benefits it can bring. So like their tech team, like their token. These are the sort of fundamental things that I look out for in what I take part in. Then there's a Sunday token from the Sunday Swap decentralized exchange. Again, that was an ISPO, so I hold their token as of ISPO, and they're currently sort of underperforming in terms of expectation, but they do have, again, a really strong tech team. Pi Lanningham is their CEO, CTO, not quite sure what his position is, but he's founder, and he is a very clever guy as well. And they've got I think a Hydra version of an early Hydra release of which is a sidechain technology within Cardano, so you could actually be running really fast, really rapid, really cheap transactions that are still then verifiable back to, or validated back to, the main chain on Cardano. So they're looking at powering their decentralized exchange from a Hydra head, which is cutting edge stuff. So confident in their long term as well. And they're well funded, even including funding from Charles Hoskinson himself, I believe so, through his C fund. And then last on my top 10, the NTX token, which is again an artificial intelligence related token. They offer distributed infrastructure for artificial intelligence. So effectively, anybody who has a server that they're running could be running their AI interaction bots that then create a decentralized AI rather than a centralized one. So instead of Microsoft powering and funding and feeding their AI engine, you can have it distributed across multiple operators. So any AI can be built and trained on far wide-reaching models, which I think is a safer approach than having them in the hands of a small minority who are making decisions based either on their nation's policies or on their private corporate greed. So let's hope AI that starts to form outside of those siloed environments in a healthy way and not in a Skynet way. But there we go. That will bear out in time, I'm sure. And of course, AI is a hot topic at the moment because they're making absolute huge leaps and strides. It was only a few months ago that we were shouting so loudly about ChatGPT from OpenAI, which then has revolutionized a whole load of different content creation on the web, and answers questions on anything and anything up until 2021, which is it was trained on internet data prior to that. And then this week we've seen the launch of GPT-4, which is the bigger brother of ChatGPT, and that's purported to have like 100 times better characteristics, performance, accuracy, relevancy than ChatGPT. So a huge, in 3 months, we're really talking about leap strides forward. Is there a question there?
It's supposed to support the videos and images and everything now, right? With ChatGPT-4. That's my understanding.
GPT-4 it doesn't have video capability yet. What they've launched with is the ability to feed it images or text and have textual copy or images spat out of it. So you can give it a photo and say, I'd like the bear in this photo to be a human, and it will swap those two out, or vice versa. It'll do that sort of thing, a bit like Midjourney or Stable Diffusion. But that's not the full capabilities. There's probably certainly they've been OpenAI as a lab has been talking about video work, which is much more than they've released. So whether that will be GPT-4 Pro, because they now have a Pro tier on their technologies, whether that will be a feature just on Pro, I'm sure it'll show its head at some point. But video and just being able to describe a scene and having it spat out in video from the AI engine is a incredible prospect, and we've seen really impressive results from other projects as well as theirs in previews, and I'm sure it's coming, that you'll just be able to describe the film you want to watch and then you'll be able to watch it. So transforming our world yet again. And so any technology is moving that fast, look at the tokens that are related to it. So in this case, AGIX and NTX are both artificial intelligence related projects. Sorry, go on.
So the Bing already supports ChatGPT, right? Because Microsoft. So
that's what we were told initially, but I did see an article this week that said actually the version of GPT that's being run by Microsoft on Bing is GPT-4. So Microsoft got early access to GPT-4, and have got their models trained up already. So I'm not very happy with that whole setup, to be honest. So in the origins, OpenAI was called OpenAI because it was going to be open source, and it was really looking to be a collaboration, more of an academic endeavor with collaboration, peer review, sharing of knowledge to really have the growth and build out of AI as an open approach, which is really the only way to safely do that. And instead, the investors in OpenAI in the beginning, which were heavy investment. So Elon Musk was on that board originally, and he put in $100 million of his own money to seed OpenAI and its research. And Microsoft then bought in with similar figure, and more again. They're plowing money in now, to the extent that effectively, Elon Musk has pulled out, moved away because they moved away from open source. And Microsoft are big on closed source, so they moved in more heavily, and now getting early access to technology releases from them. So effectively, OpenAI, I just now synonymize with Microsoft. Microsoft are OpenAI. OpenAI is Microsoft. And again, that's an already existing, hugely powerful tech firm now controlling the highest performing artificial intelligence on the planet to date, as opposed to an open source and accessible technology platform for anybody to use. They do have APIs and all that sort of thing, but there's too much language around artificial intelligence development, and words like to ensure public safety. Every time I hear those words, I think, is it really about public safety, or is it about private profit? Because that seems to be the case more and more after the fact, is that we just hear actually things were locked away for private benefit rather than for public safety. Safety concerns rarely are. They're just means of control. So I think I'm quite cynical now about ChatGPT and the direction that it's taking. Very confident in the technology as a whole, but I would rather see. So if you're gonna have closed source, then I want those the budgets for those endeavors to remain small, and for there to be heavy competition, because capitalism can drive efficiency and growth and control monopolies fairly well. If there's a monopoly on a technology and it's copyright or intellectual property law comes and prevents anybody else from adopting this technology and making use of it, then I get very concerned. And when there's a previously open source platform that then becomes closed source, it just, I'm not a fan of that at all. So I'm much more like to support a closed source competitor to OpenAI now than I would have been previously. So yeah, all power to Stable Diffusion and these other guys who are aggressively going after that same market segment. But my heart really lies with teams like NTX and AGIX, who are their founders certainly talk about humanity being the beneficiary rather than the individual or the entity, the corporate entity. So yeah, that's my stance on it. A bit of a rant, but there you go. Amazing technology, even still. So any last questions? Anything you want me to be looking at for the week? I'll certainly have a look at Machiavellic token distribution. But if there's no more, think we can probably wrap up there. 10 to 11.
Sure, Jonathan. Thank you.
No problem. Good session. I'll get that recording up for you as well, Lotan, from last week, and hopefully we can have another good topic next week. Thanks, Carol.
Sure.
Jaya, if you're
Thank
there.
you.
Paul, speak to you all
Jonathan.
soon. Yeah.
All the
Thank
best.
you.
Have a nice week.
Cheers. Bye bye.
Thanks, Jonathan.
No problem. Oh, Carol, yeah. If you want to catch up at all about